no, no. Oh, no, no. Keep your seats back. Thank you. Thank you very much. If I remember correctly, my name is Garry Moore, and I've got a seat.
From New York, here is I've Got a Secret, starring Steve Allen.
Thanks very much. Good evening and welcome to... Hey, I got to tell you kind of an odd thing. One of the first contestants, I'll give you a little advance hint panel, is a little boy. I don't know how this is going to turn out. And if he weren't real tiny, I wouldn't even be discussing such a thing on the air. But just now he said, I have to go to the bathroom. It's not a planned routine, so I don't know how the show's going to go tonight. Anyway, welcome to the final edition of I've Got a Secret in this time period. I say that because starting next Monday, we will be on the air at 10:30 Eastern Time, 9:30 in the Midwest. And for all of you people with color television sets, you'll be happy to know, I'm sure, that starting next week, we will be broadcasting in purple. Perhaps a few other colors, too. All of us, that is, except Henry Morgan, who will continue to be seen in glorious black and white, as always. So now let's meet all the members of our panel. First, Betsy Palmer, next, Bill Cullen, then Bess Meyerson, and finally, Henry Morgan. And now to get to the next chapter of that little adventure I mentioned, let's get the contestants out here and we'll start the game. Well, so far so good. These youngsters are all set to go back to school after having had a really wonderful and unusual summer. And when they do start school, they'll have something really special to say when they write that inevitable composition titled, What I Did Last Summer. Because all three of them spent the summer in very interesting and profitable ways, and that, of course, is their secret for tonight. So let's start now with this little lady right here. Would you tell us your name, honey, and where you're from?
Lucas.
Jean?
Gina Lucas.
Jean Belucas. And you are from?
Brooklyn.
Good girl. And how old are you?
6 and a half.
It's been changing all day. I don't know. It's in that neighborhood, anyway. Well, if you'll whisper to me, sweetheart, we'll show our audience how you spent the summer. Panel, the clue to Jean Belucas' secret concerns what she did last summer, of course. We'll start with Betsy Palmer.
Jean, did you do this by yourself?
Yes.
Did you, use something?
Yes.
Did you sell something?
What?
Did you sell something?
No.
Did you do something that only a little girl would do rather than a big girl?
No.
Did you do something?
$20 down. Bill Cullen?
Was there a final end product, Gina, from what you did? Or how should I word that? That's good enough. That's about as good as I can do.
No.
No.
Thank you. Did you make something, Gina?
No.
Did you perform in any sense? Like act, you know, or like that? I don't mean did you act, but did you perform? It's hard to...
Did something, yes. $40 down. Bess?
Gina, did you perform on a stage?
No.
Did you perform in an arena? Well, let me ask you this. Did you travel when you did this?
No.
I thought possibly it might have had to do with a circus or riding an animal. Were there animals involved?
No.
$60 down. Henry?
Honey, do you sing?
No.
Do you play a musical instrument?
No.
Do you tell jokes? Did you make money at this thing you did?
She could if she wanted to. Let's put it that way. She probably did not, though.
Well, then, were other people watching you when you did this thing?
Yes.
Did you do it out of doors?
No.
Well, little Jean Belucas may be only 6 and a half or 7 or one of those ages in there, But she did something this summer that none of us, on this stage anyway, are good enough to do because of a very special talent that she has. She spent her summer giving instruction and exhibitions of her skill in, of all things, pocket billiards. Jean, when did you first start shooting pool, honey, or playing billiards, or whatever you call it?
3.
At 3? My goodness, you could probably hardly get up over the table at that age. Well, her father happens to own a billiard center in Brooklyn, and consequently she took to the pool table very easily because the whole family plays the game. I understand you sometimes play against your mother and father. Who wins, usually?
I do.
Well, I'm not going to challenge you, that's for sure, but we'd all like to see a sample of your style, so would you come over here and show us your stuff? Atta girl. Now, as you can see, we have a billiard table and lots of billiard balls and a cue ball here. And our first trick is going to be to find the cue ball. You get 10 points for that. There, she found it. It's right there. Now, what are you going to do, honey?
14 in the corn pocket.
14 in the corner pocket. There it goes. Now, you know, being on television and all that sort of thing, she may possibly get nervous here, but when the pressure is not on, she can just go on like this all night. There she is. Want me to get the chalk out of your way, sweetheart? There you go. In case you're tuned in late, this is Minnesota Jean. Yeah. That's what I like as a 7-year-old hustler. Now, as I said, she gives whoops, pardon me, I don't want to get behind your stick. Who have you ever instructed, sweetheart, in this game?
My sister.
Fine. Would you like to see one of her pupils? She can go on like that. She'll never miss. Let's bring her little pupil out here. Hi, dear. How old? Oh, there she goes. Yeah, chalk up. Would you care for a beer before you start? Now, you see, this little one can't quite reach the, all the position. Want me to move this white ball, as we say? Oh, you're going to put it yourself. Okay. How long have you been playing, honey?
What?
I say, how many years have you been playing?
I don't know.
How old are you? 47, I see. No, you're 5, aren't you? And your name is? What's your name?
Laura.
That's right. Okay. Oh, I'll get it for you. This is all she's learned to do. She doesn't hit anything, you know. She just keeps pushing them around on the table. Now, watch this. Yeah. One more. Oh, that was my fault. I made her nervous, didn't I, gang? No, I made me nervous with that shot. Well, believe it or not, this afternoon when she was here in the theater, she was sinking them in just like Big Sister. There they go. Thank you. Thank you, girls. Whoops. Well, we'll leave Argyle Sunday down at the pool hall. And we'll meet the rest of our contestants in a minute after this word from our next contestant is young Steve Herlihy from Gardena, California here, and he has spent the summer doing something that makes him unique. In fact, I think it's safe to say that no other boy in America has done what Steve has done this past summer. So, Steve, if you'll whisper to me, we'll show the audience what you've been up to. Panel, Mr. Feldman, the little old clockmaker here, tells me we have time for just one question on this round, one question apiece. Young Mr. Herlihy's secret concerns what he's been doing. I'll give you a hint. It's in the field of sports, and we'll start the game with Henry Morgan.
You bought the Mets.
$20 down, Henry. Betsy.
You,
I said that.
I knew. You ice skated in the middle of July.
No.
No.
Lovely song title, though. Bill Cullen, $40.
You, no other boy in the country is now. We all use the same approach, yes. You did it, Steve, we have to take a wild guess. You won, no, that's impossible. You played for a professional team.
No, I did not.
Not team. Okay, $60 down. Bess's question.
Steve, I'll just go by the jacket somehow.
It's a clue.
You won a steeplechase award in an adult division. Does it have something to do with riding?
No, it does not.
Oh, well, then. Magician.
Only if you're very unlucky, because... because when a young American boy is growing up and dreaming about the roar of the crowd and the glory of the sport, he's usually thinking about becoming a baseball or football player, but not young Steve Hurley. He spent the summer working in Mexico as a professional bullfighter. Steve, how does a young American boy get started on a career as a bullfighter? How old were you when you first moved into this field?
I was 8 years old.
8? What, did you fight a mouse? You didn't fight a bull at that age, did you? You had instruction at that age.
Well, the
Let me ask you this.
professional fight was at 12.
At 12 years
Yes, at
old?
12 years.
That's terrific. Well, I happen to know he's great because he, last spring, he won his first ear. You know what that means. And he expects to win a nose this coming year. Doing piecework. But seriously, he's not just in the field, but he's great at it. Where have you fought?
In Mexico
Mm-hmm.
and in South America.
Well, it's always a pleasure, as I often say here, to meet a real champ, and you're certainly one. Steve, nice
Thank
to have
you.
you with us tonight. Thank you. Steve Hurley. Now, here's our young fellow who had a problem I mentioned. Would you tell us your name, please, and where you're from?
David Manning, and I'm from Brooklyn.
Well, Dave, if you will whisper to me, we'll let the audience know how you spent your summer. Mm-hmm. David has quite an impressive secret panel. The clue concerns something he did, of course, during the summer. We'll start the game with Bill Cullen.
One question or more?
We have two questions.
Two questions. Steve, David, did you earn money doing this?
Yes.
Did you do this at home? I mean, in Brooklyn?
Yes.
No.
Well, not right in Brooklyn.
In
but,
New York?
In around, yeah. $20 down. Bess?
David, did you perform?
Yes.
Did you play a musical instrument?
No.
$40 down, Henry?
Do you sing?
Yes.
Congratulations. Did you make a record?
Yes.
Yes, it has nothing to do with a secret, oddly enough, but we learn things all the time. $60 down. Betsy?
Does singing have to do with your secrets?
Mm-hmm.
Singing? It does have to do with it. Did you sing in a very important place here in New York City?
Yes.
Did you sing at the New Metropolitan Opera?
No.
I don't know why that question strikes me funny. Well, panel, I'll tell you, although 8-year-old David Manning had no professional training or experience, he walked out on the stage last spring and auditioned as an actor and singer in front of Irving Berlin, Ethel Merman, and Richard Rodgers, to mention only 3, and he won a featured role in the New York State Theater production of Annie, Get Your Gun. And that's what you've been doing this summer. Dave, how do you like show business so far?
Fine.
Good. What part do you play in the show?
Little Jake.
Little Jake. When you grow up, which part would you like most to play?
And the Oakleys of Frank Butler's.
All right. What was the toughest thing you had to learn in this play?
My part.
Your part. A very good answer. Well, one of the reasons it was a kind of a tough part is he does a very intricate number, as you'll see in a moment, with a drill team, a military drill team. Did you ever make a mistake doing that?
Yes.
Did the audience know?
No.
Then who cares? Will you show us how it works?
Yes.
Okay, partner. Hold up your gun here so they can see what he's got. Now, here are David Manning, all set, Dave. Here are David Manning and friends in a dance choreographed by Danny Daniels for the Lincoln Center production of Annie, Get Your Gun. Here they are. That's just great. We'll meet our special guest, Garry Moore, in a minute. All right. Now, before we can proceed, there's something I have to do, something I have to get. Thank you very much. It's now time, as I just told you, to meet our special guest for the evening, and I do mean special. I'm very delighted to welcome him home. So I've got a secret. I'm looking forward, along with everybody else, to next Sunday night when he returns to television with his own brand new comedy variety show. Another big welcome for Garry Moore. Now, Garry, it's wonderful, of course, to have you back. And judging from these cards, not only do I have questions, but a lot of people out there want to ask you a lot of questions.
Well, I'll try to find a lot of answers. I'm always happy to try to answer questions if I can.
Okay. Well, I figured that's what you would say. So before the show, we asked the members of our studio audience to write down any questions they wanted to ask Garry. Anything about your recent vacation, your new show, your personal life.
Oops. Well, I'll try to answer as honestly as I can.
Well, you don't have to worry about that, actually, Garry, because if the questions get too personal, I'm sure you'll be happy to learn that the panel is going to be on the spot right along with you, because they all know you so well, you see, after having worked with you for so many years, that we decided to complicate things a little bit and let them try to predict your answers. In other words, panel, you have to pretend in answering that you are Garry Moore, and then you just take turns answering the various questions the way you think Garry would, not the way you would, you see. So, Garry, then it'll be your turn to straighten things out, all right?
Well, I think the panel can answer my questions probably better than I can. They know me better than I know myself, I'm sure.
Well, we'll get started and see whether they do or not. The first question, frankly, Garry, is from me, but it's a question I hear all the time. Are you coming back to I've Got a Secret?
No, Steve, I enjoyed the...
Bill Cullen.
Yeah, Steve.
Yes, Bill.
You mean, am I coming back or is Garry coming back? Well, answering from what I know, knowing Garry as I do, I would say yes, I am, and it's been nice seeing you, Steve.
What's your answer, Garry?
Actually, I was only kidding.
Well, my answer is no. I enjoyed the 12 years that I spent here with the panel and the production staff and everybody, but I don't like to chew my cabbage twice, as they say. And plus that, I wouldn't dare try to come back and follow you, Steve. I was delighted, and I think you all should be very proud. At the end of the year, when in our Variety, our show business newspaper, they came out with the ratings on the top 20 shows of this season. Now, this show is 14 years old. I've Got a Secret was in the top 20 after all this time.
Thank you, Gary. And now here's the next question from somebody in our audience. Do people still recognize you after you're being away for 2 years? Bess?
How could they miss? First of all, well, I think there's so many identifiable things about Gary. First of all, his hair, and then his smile, and the warmth of his eyes.
You're supposed to be Gary when
I'm
you're
Gary, and I'm very honest.
I never looked better in my life.
Oh, of course people recognize you, don't they?
Well, I have found that even though I have been away from the tube for about 2 years, when I do walk down the street, people do still turn and say, "Hey, look, George Goebel."
Okay, Henry, you'll get first crack at this next question from someone out there. It's this. How do you feel about going opposite Bonanza next season?
No, I'm answering as Gary.
As Gary.
Well, of course, Bonanza has been on a long time and has deserved its run. It's a fine show. What we hope, naturally, is not to ruin it, but to get a reasonable percentage of the audience available at that time, possibly including some people who don't particularly care for Hoss.
Well, if you ask me how I feel going up against Bonanza, only to put it in one word, I would say nauseated. It's a little bit like winning 2 free tickets to a leprosarium. That's a tough show, but we're going to give it a good try, and we think there's room for both of us.
All righty. The next question here is, was there any special reason that you left your show after so many years of success to take a trip around the world? Betsy, you first.
Well, speaking as Gary now, I didn't really want to leave my show. CBS left me. And the trip around the world was lovely, but I couldn't wait until I got back in the business again.
That's pretty accurate. It's pretty hard not to leave a show when you've been fired. That was the Tuesday night show. And I went to work one day, and they wouldn't let me in. And as for leaving I've Got a Secret, I did it with great regret, but it has happened to coincide with my 50th birthday and my 25th wedding anniversary. And so the first time I had a chance for my wife and I to say, well, let's go and see all these crazy places, Tanganyika, Kenya, Hong Kong, that we've always wanted to see. And it's the first time in 25 years that my wife has been able to say where we're going because she didn't have to plan everything around what I was going to do. So I missed everybody terribly, but the trip was magnificent. I wouldn't have made a different decision.
All right, the next question, Bill Cullen will answer it first. The question is, what's your new TV show going to be like?
I'm going to answer this for you. Well, we start out, and I'm on a desk at one side of the stage, and at the other side, we have 4 delightfully charming people. One is sort of grumpy. Another is a brunette lady and a blonde lady and a lovable chap. Wearing glasses.
Your turn, Gary.
Well, I'm glad our time is almost up. I'm going to sound like the idiot of the world, but now to the audience, our show starts next Sunday night. I haven't the vaguest idea of who's going to be on it or what it's going to be like.
Why is that?
Well, it's because at this moment, this edition of I've Got a Secret is being taped several weeks in advance, and we just haven't gotten that far yet. We don't know.
I think I got a good suggestion for you. Why don't you do this every week? Just sit there and answer questions.
This is easy.
Sounds like it'd be a very good idea. Well, there's a man who wants to tell you about something worth buying right now. We'll all be back after this message. Funny thing is, if this show is on tape, how did we know what those kids did last summer?
Hey, that's not
Think that one over. Anyway, we will all see you, all of us here, at 10:30 on Monday night, 9:30 in the Midwest, with our first color edition of I've Got a Secret. And look for Garry Moore on Sunday nights, right?
Yeah, thanks, Steve, very
Okay,
much.
good night, everybody.
need